jets. It's the sound of the spheres, right? Thunderous jets. Is there any coffee?
Yeah, I asked them to make some.
Would you like a Georgian?
I like it so.
No, you want real stuff.
Nobody wants to eat it.
Are they coming at 12? Is that what's happening?
That's what I was expecting.
Well, then if they're coming,
A few minutes after that.
yeah, so probably 12, 5 or 10. I'm still planning on just going 15 minutes, so, yes, so 12.
This, I timed it today and it was exactly 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
quicker, but I'll have to, so I'll do it YouTube, but that worked really quickly. Did you see that? It just came right out. So,
Oh, good.
so I'm just gonna link to YouTube.
Does it matter if we go over 1 o'clock?
No, not at all. I was just,
Okay, so if we start at 12:10, then Tom can go till 1:15 or something if he needs to.
Yeah, that's what I'm prepared to do.
Okay, good.
That
That sort of, then we can just wait till people are here and go a little after.
My pretend virus that I got.
What do you do, is that smart food?
No, it's never. It's pretend. Hopefully. Oh no, wrong one. I'm gonna make,
I'm trying my best to make it.
you can do better. I'm gonna go make copies of these references. Yeah, how many people?
見てこれ
Bowl.
靴は履きたいんですね
I'm gonna hand this out. I'll make it. I just wanted, I just wanted to know if that's okay. Is that good enough?
あこれはあれだよほら自殺する前にこれストレス解消するね
you know,
いいんだよねこれ
30
ね
is,
違う
I'll
それ
recycle
入っても
anymore,
いい
yeah. Oh, well,
全部もね
camera, bowling camera. I think I'm good.
新しい方が持ってるんだ名前だけ書いとこうかうん書こうよせっかくだから私だって先生に断ってるもん何人のことナンバーだナンバーって携帯じゃないの違ういいです
Oh yeah, we switched it.
What is that number? No, what's number?
What's number?
Oh, phone number. Sorry, I just put number.
Okay.
I'm dumb.
Yes, やっぱりね
Any number.
Any number, okay.
12.
体重かけだよ。ウェイトかけばいい。
やだよ。
Hi, how are you? That's so long. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I had to cut my hair.
What? I like it. No, it's
Yeah.
like
これ
keep
で
it.
もついたら綺麗に。すごいフードだフードだ。
Goes home.
どうぞだって。どうぞ。なみさん見て。
ちょっと待って、私はこっち書いてるから。
I'm going to take picture.
はいはい。
Are you student?
Yes.
Ah,
Are
okay.
you?
writing class.
Oh yeah, this term. So almost done. One more week.
Yeah, but I just register for next one.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going, keep going.
見て、what is that? 何？もうさ、でもぶっちゃけ嬉しいでしょ。
嬉しいね。
So we have to sign in here, huh?
Okay. At least we have two people here.
Yeah.
Okay. 慣れるよね。すごいね。よかったね。
Participant.
And 鍋もね。じゃあ、ねぎさんもフードとご飯を。いくよ、ねぎさちゃん。Ready?
Isn't that a nice color? Look at those colors.
もっとです。
It comes out quick, it's so silky, it comes out.
Wow. How do you wash that? By
I
hand?
have
or-
to dry clean it, or
Dry
you can wash
clean
it by hand,
yeah.
but it's easier to dry clean it, 'cause it's,
Yeah.
if you wash it by hand, then you have to, dry it really flat, and then it gets kind of,
Yeah, but once in the machine, it's gone, right?
no, yeah.
Never. Okay.
やるやるよ。
Hand it down to my daughter.
やるやるよ。
She's gonna love it. Yeah, she's gonna love it.
すごい素敵だね、こういうプレゼン見れてね。
10 minutes to go.
That's it, I'm just gonna, I'll give it
めい
that.
ずちゃんカップ必要？これでもあれに使おうかな、カップ。メイクドームの筆差し。
あ
筆じゃなきゃね、チップだと顔は作れないよ。チップだとなかなか顔は作れない。
Hi, come on in. Glad you all got here. Yeah. Terrific. Gay, of course. Good to see you one more time. Wow.
Also, I see you at the Karate line.
Yeah, that's me. I love the fresh air and the outdoors. Yes,
完璧や
that's
な。
right.
Nice.
So you look so much happier you got rid of stats. Yeah,
Perfect.
all right.
It's okay.
Want to refresh yourself?
Yeah.
Secret.
Right now I'm dealing with accounting.
I don't like accounting.
I did not get
She's
since
gonna
last
walk.
week. So.
You're gonna walk in Tokyo.
山道もこの。
Yeah, get the diploma.
私に持つ。
Oh, that's awesome.
Me? Okay.
Yeah, you go.
Hopefully.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yokota?
yeah.
Yokota. That's great.
Only it's in Tokyo town, the Sano Hotel. That's where they have the ceremony.
Oh, wow.
So every year.
That's great.
So you're gonna be down there soon, I know that, too.
Do you go every year to graduation?
No, I go only when forced or when I have personal
Personal interest?
ties to go. Right. We've heard stories about that one hot graduation in Guam, where some of the faculty wore their robes
Oh,
and
they-
nothing else.
Oh,
That was it.
you gotta be careful sitting down in the front
And the
though.
breeze came up and
Oh, that's
for all to see.
funny. Oh, really?
Distinguished faculty.
That's funny, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
but anyway, I didn't think it was too funny.
No, I mean, it's funny,
Funny,
I
but
wasn't involved in it.
audience.
since I'm in no way connected to that, that's funny.
Well, they say that one of the purposes of the graduation is exposure.
Ah. Those robes are hot though, if you have the really good ones, you know, they're thick. And
The robes?
The robes, yeah.
They're
you have
hot,
the-
yeah, they would be hot, yeah. I haven't heard any emails from them, so I don't think they're gonna pay our way down this year.
Oh, for graduation.
Yeah,
Oh,
last
no.
year they offered to.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, because the president from El Delphi was coming,
Oh, okay.
and so they wanted to have pad the audience.
That's pretty funny.
That wasn't the way they said it, but,
Yeah, I've had the audience, it's true.
yeah,
Joe was a nurse? That's
Yeah.
kind of Joe.
so.
when last year, my daughter graduated from the high school, and they had the graduation in the Salva Civic Center, and she was the valedictorian, so she was in the front. But
She's valedictorian?
she's like me, not used to wearing dresses and things like that, so she wasn't really thinking. So she's in the front, and she puts her leg up like this.
Oh, yeah, she does that? And the videos are cranking?
I know, my friend and I are in the audience, we're like trying to get her attention.
And she said, oh, they like, yeah, hi.
And then she realizes what we're telling her, she's like, oh, move her leg back.
Delete, delete, edit video.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But you say, once you post it, it's
Once it's
posted.
on the internet, but I noticed that the guys that edited the official video took like, if they had the video on that.
So I think you did
Yeah, right. They're kind.
Yeah.
They're kind. They're professionals. Yeah.
She also, when my husband introduced her, because he's a teacher, so you had a teacher introduce them, and he gave her this really sweet introduction, so then she started crying, like in the video. So they edited out a bit of her crying, so she couldn't get her act
It's like the
together for a few
Olympics when they
minutes.
play your national anthem and
Oh, yeah,
the cameras just wait for the tears to come. Yeah, and they do.
あら、デニス君、はい。元気よ。
Time to get there.
Hi! Good to see you guys.
Hi, it's my favorite teachers. How you guys doing?
Hurts one, hurts all. That's a nice, hurts one, hurts all. I like that. See? Hurts one, hurts all. So that's a good way to hurt all, huh? Just hurt one and you get them all.
Get it over with. Just-
Let's see what we got here.
I'll go put my basketball class right back.
Old friends. Konnichiwa. Hello. So good to get all these people coming in.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
This is the social time. After they sit down, it's boring. This is good, yeah. This is good.
I told him I got promise.
I said, these are boring
He needs
people.
to be here. He
I didn't
requested
say that.
promise, so I take it for him. Over there. And he wants his own bag too.
The last time I had some of your brownies, wasn't that March 11th? Last time I had those with you.
Hello? Hi, how are you?
We might not have enough chairs the way this is starting to fill up already. I think David's in the bathroom doing a rehearsal in front of the mirror. Getting the expressions exactly the way he wants them.
He's getting into character.
Yeah, exactly. He says, don't bother me, I'm
You
concentrating.
could knock on the bathroom
Yeah.
door. You okay in there?
Oh, look at this. She's in on it. That's great. Don't fight. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to just go what we got.
Come on in.
Hi, hello.
Shooting for first week in May. Son trying to do all my papers with services. Again. I'm back to start with them again. Tuesday about working with the center again.
I'm sweating, but you look so pretty.
I'm sweating too.
Howling, nothing.
Oh, that's great.
Or a sofa.
I like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Oh, what a photo. Wow.
So thanks for having me for
Hi, how are you?
Fine. And you?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll be okay.
Is that a down coat inside?
Yeah.
Down?
That'd be out.
Very good quality. It's warm, yeah.
I never usually wear high heels.
I'm from
We should get a picture of
Do you know Mary?
Yes.
Mary?
Miyagi.
Don't forget
Do
and
you know Sendai?
Yes.
Oh, oh, oh.
Sendai is in
Oh, very nice.
the Miyagi prefecture.
Yes.
Should we get
So,
the
I'm from
Mary and
Miyagi.
ほら、みんな写真撮らせてほしい。
Do you know Tsunami?
yes.
I live there.
Oh, wait a moment. Lynn, hi.
Near
No, wait. You said what? Do I know tsunami?
私は今撮ってます英語のクラスなんです興味
I'm from
Yeah.
the place where
私は
came
メイ
tsunami.
キング受けてますねこの先生がやる
Yeah, near here.
No, David Jenkins is my
ドラマです
Very afraid.
Yeah, very
Yes.
先生がそれもなんかねやってみなさいって言ってたん
I
で
lost my daughter,
俳優
friend.
アバターとかやる
I'm sorry.
There's a program called David's Drama.
それだけ言えればいいんです
But I'm not going to give a
Soon,
presentation about
1 year later, March 11.
Hey?
Yeah.
Yes, anniversary.
One week.
Anniversary.
This is for the chili.
Your friend? Did he
I made
disappear?
the chili
Or did you
myself,
find?
so I mean it's.
You made it yourself.
You found?
デニス写真撮って2円の歯の写真撮ってデニス君ヘルプにここだよここタッチパネルではいメリサちゃんメリサちゃんデニスも撮ったんですからねアフターだ
Okay.
Did you already walk today?
No, no time today.
Oh, one more. Okay.
I did.
Professional
It was nice today. It was like 40 degrees.
ネックスだよ。いいの？あ、いいの？
Last week I fell on the path.
Ah,
So
yeah.
icy.
Yes.
And I had my January song.
Yes.
I still did it.
Yes, okay.
When you hit those, there's nothing you can do.
It surprised me because I had dinner.
Yeah. And you can't see them coming all the way. Look for them. You missed one or two. There you go.
Of course, the first thing I did was look around and make sure nobody saw me.
Well, I'm glad your legs didn't get hurt. That's what
Yeah, and I landed on my elbow. But it's
Yeah, it is embarrassing.
one time I fell right there by the gas station. A ton of people at the stoplight.
And they all come over, socialize and try to help you. Yeah, I hate that. That makes it worse. Right. Makes it worse, yeah. Right. Yeah, I do this on purpose.
Like,
I ran off and then like when I got home.
going into like a month and you're only 3 weeks, and he subtracted.
And it wasn't even, it was June. It was July.
So they can still.
選んでる姿のことで
I do things like that. I do things like that. I do. Yeah.
アリーブ
Well, there's good times and bad times.
Yeah, as long as one of your classes is light, then it's, you consider full time.
This room is very comfortable. The lighting. Hi, Yoko. How are you?
Have a seat and help yourself with the
Hi, Jill.
snacks.
Yeah, so here. get some new people? Want to catch the new people, Jill and everybody? Try that. You want to see that? Okay.
I like this. I was a geek, I was the president of my school.
You were what?
I said I was a geek, I was the president of my school.
So you've gone outside at night and you looked through the tube.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know about here, but I mean, I know back home.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it's been a one time, I can't remember. It was something in Harbor, they had all kinds of really strong telescopes set up.
I'll bet you guys even made your own telescope. I bet you ground your own mirror.
Yeah, no.
No.
Oh, good, I'd like to see it. Yes.
You don't get the geek badge. No geek badge for you unless you ground your own mirror. So you're going to take it back. You keep the t-shirt though. Astronomy club. That works. Baltimore, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I grew up. But this was actually even after I graduated. This was like years later. As a matter of fact, my son was already born and he went with me. He was like,
Has he picked up your love of astronomy?
no.
Your child? No, not at all. Just rock star and games. Yeah?
I don't think so. He likes philosophy.
Really? What's his age?
He's here.
Oh, you Troy? Oh. Yeah, well, I've taught philosophy of Troy, but I didn't know that. I thought he might be your brother, but that's.
Oh, please,
Come
no.
on.
No, he's my son.
You're joking. I've never known anyone's mother before. I was really sure people had mothers, actually. But,
He has one, honest, I remember.
now I'm guarded in the way I talk to you, and also, well,
Right now.
well, we can't talk guy things, you know?
You and I?
No, him and I. In front of you?
Therefore, I don't care, so I guess. I'll tell you I'm inappropriate all the time anyway, so it's okay.
Nice. I remember this.
It's an exercise.
I know, they're testing the giant voice.
They're testing
They're
what?
testing the giant voice. They've updated the giant voice that they're testing.
Yeah, it's the first of the month,
Nothing
that's
wrong.
all
You
it
can
is.
hear it numerous times,
Yeah.
so we're like,
I'm gonna get some more.
Numerous times?
yeah, it's gonna go on for quite a while. I'm doing part of it. I have like 3. That's what we were told to work.
Because he's paranoid that there's going to be 5 pages. Yeah.
Oh, no, it has to be 1.
Oh, okay. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a year.
Maybe a book
Yeah.
or like a theater.
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 Yes, good.
So, she ended up, like, I never ended a grade 4.
Do you want me to move up?
You want to sit over there? Did she look at the thing that I got? Oh, I don't know. So I was like, I never.
They just forgot to withdraw, and there's something I can do. I have been on TDY. I guess I was gonna do something online, no contacts. So I'm gonna get them not there. I'm gonna go to that one.
It's like a, it's either an app, but you get like an app and.
Yeah. It doesn't look as bad because but I don't get the receipt back, so I do the receipt. just put in, I mean, if I put in a C, it doesn't have to take it down, but he's done maybe half the work, which is not C.
Well, what?
12:10.
12:10?
Maybe this I think the education center's lunch is 7 minutes left.
Okay. Okay. All right.
いいね。でも長いからさ、あまり早いってやだ。
The airplanes quit flying, but they turned on their alarms.
Yeah, they're gonna do it numerous, numerous times.
They saw the poster? Yeah. That's right.
Give it to them. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it. That's it. We know them.
We're conspiracy theorists. I always tell my students. I'm a conspiracy theorist, so. Not complete, not a complete, like.
You just did that.
Is he an information or? No.
I don't know what he was.
On the Delta.
Yeah, that's like.
Yeah, he was. I don't know what he was. But you can imagine how fun it was before he was a student in high school. Sorry, you have to do that value picture, you can't even. I didn't know very much.
1割。
When in my presentation, I talk about how kids should have their should be in a open area.
Yep.
They're doing the alarms for you.
And they're gonna keep going on?
Yes, that's what they told us. I can't guarantee it because I'm not the one doing it.
Till you crack.
Maybe if they
Till you
won't call,
crack
they
like an
won't
egg.
tell you.
This is my test.
Yeah, maybe if they won't call, they'll stop.
Yeah.
An actor or a drama?
They said they did have a price.
I'm a drama.
No, I'm not gonna begin here, I'm gonna begin up there.
James, first of all, I could never look down on you.
No, I need this space there. I hope it's not just temporary.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh,
How about right here?
no, they'll take it, put it back there. Yeah, put it back there, just there.
Here's this space right here. Okay. Done deal.
No. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I can, thank you.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
I remember looking at Saturday. So it's like,
We're done with her.
What do you say? Yes. Somewhat.
I've met men with vision. In Monet's lily ponds, a silent, hidden world, deeper and more truthful than our own. In Gauguin's islands, an illuminated innocence that mocks all of our codes, our social relevance, our high ideals. Absinthe nights led to immaculate mornings filled with practice and instruction, ideas and intellect, models and technique. I was made in Paris, but I found myself in the provinces. The furious everlasting sun beats down on everything I see, always, always rising in the east. I wake with contentment, sweating, yawning, taking in oceans full of eye-piercing light. That haystack over there is not just a bunch of straw. It's yellow gold soaking up energy. And down there, those giant green cylindrical cypresses, they're being pushed by a swirling tide of air that's found its origins in Africa. I mop my brow and continue stroking the petroleum paint. Fossil organisms are mixed with crushed pigment and spread like butter on this permanent bread of finely woven cloth. I am defying entropy. I am raising a hell of existence to living heights. I'm not just perceiving reality, I'm creating it. And the hot sun gains radius, beats down on my meager brain, making me receptive to what's alive. And then suddenly I see that everything green-brown is also orange-blue and animated. Because all life is holy. I've been doing this for days, which turn into weeks, maybe months. I don't know, I can't tell exactly. I wake up with the coffee. Strong, aromatic, permeating. I picture the world, I paint the wind. Between those giant cypresses and that golden haystack, currents of air in a rush of water-like ripples descend and sweep over the bending pines from hill to hill. Smooth, deep currents, cascades, falls, and swirling eddies sing around every tree and leaf like mountain rivers conforming to the features of their channels. I am in love with life. I burn into the afternoon, my colors, the distillation of lust and living, hardening fast before twilight, singing the night electric cuts me off. Now I'm in the cafe, drinking in the acid sweat of workers' labors. Bread and wine, with maybe a peach for dessert. That's my dinner. Soon, I'm out the door. and on another adventure. And I'm out under the high, hard stars. The night is electric with swirling traces of fine wind and the ghostly glow of other worlds that inhabit this sphere just a little left of center. If man's two-sided brain were fused, we would see things like this. Silent cry of millions of years of human inhabitation spreading out in a sprinkling of fairy dust, blowing like leaves around one field and then another. Listen, beyond the constant chirp of crickets and the thunderous skies is the sound of the spheres. Listen, it is a low crystal humming, which is the earth turning in space. Nothing's ever lost. Everything transforms. It morphs into something new. Ah, the night truly is alive with wonder. The blue-black trees know. The stars that ignite our imagination know. They never doubt, for if they did, all of life would go out. They know there is no sin except wasting the day and denying the night. I'm just an observer on my way to another life, one that's beyond this one, just a little left of center. Just as a train is our vehicle across the terrestrial landscape, art is our vehicle to the stars.
Bravo, bravo.
Okay, thank you.
Wow. Great job. Fantastic. Wow. Where did that come from?
And thank you that the jets weren't flying.
They didn't dare.
So for the second part of my presentation, I would like to talk to you about the 7 fine arts, which are painting, sculpture, architecture, poetry, dance, drama, and music. So this is a classic sense of what the fine arts are. And it's what was derived from Aristotle and the Greeks 2,400 years ago. So what is fine art? First, some examples, just to orient you. Okay, painting, yes, think of the French Impressionists. They were fine artists. Monet, Gauguin, Van Gogh, and the others. Why were they fine? What is fine art in painting? Fine art in painting, as with all the other arts, is conceived for aesthetic pleasure or effect. Aesthetic pleasure or effect. So it's not sensational, necessarily. Sculpture, think Michelangelo, right? I was fortunate enough as a teenager to see Michelangelo's Pietà at St. Peter's in Rome, right before it was smashed with a hammer by some maniac. But it's still there, I think, maybe behind plexiglass. So we think of sculpture, fine art sculpture, as being beautiful, which certainly is the Pietà and David, also by Michelangelo. But also, Giacometti's sculptures are fine art too. They're quite different. So Giacometti sculptures are rather horrific. They're emaciated, dark figures, and I saw them in San Francisco, of course. But they weren't exactly beautiful. What they were instead was a gateway to the sublime. They were so chilling that they made you feel something, and that's an aesthetic experience too. Architecture. Well, you just have to take a trip to Europe and walk through one of those beautiful cathedrals. Those are fine art pieces of architecture, the wonderful cathedrals of Europe. I'm sure the Taj Mahal is too. I've never been there, but that's a fine piece of architecture. And in our modern time period, the buildings of Frank Lloyd Wright and his houses too. If you've ever been inside of a Frank Lloyd Wright structure, and there's even one in Tokyo, still down there. If you walk in, you sense something different. It has an effect on you. That's what fine art does. Poetry, I'll get to that in a minute. The performing arts, dance, drama, and music. Well, of course, ballet is a fine arts form of dance. And some of you have been to ballet, and some still have to experience that. Also modern dance, like Martha Graham, okay? Martha Graham is modern dance. It's a hybrid of traditional work. But what makes dance fine art is that it's choreographed. There's a plan to it. So when you experience it, when you see modern dance that's fine art or ballet, it's choreographed and there's a controlling consciousness that comes through it. And then you have music. Well, of course, Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, yes, those are the traditional composers. Philip Glass, have to wait 100 years. I have no idea. So what about music? Okay, again, it's planned. And as much as I love jazz, I wonder if it is a fine art. Again, time will tell. Maybe there's some standards in jazz that will still be around in 100 years, and maybe they will be fine art, but we just don't know yet. So music is a fine art. Drama, of course, is a fine art, but to experience the fine art of drama, you won't get that on TV or on the internet or even in a film. It has to be on stage. Drama as a fine art has to be done by actors live. Poetry, this is in the very traditional sense. The Greeks called literary arts poetry, so their plays were conceived in a poetic style. But for us, it's literature. And there are plenty of novels that would be fine art too. So what do these have in common? And how do we experience fine art? Well, you experience it in person, not on film, radio, TV, with an iPod or internet. You're not experiencing fine art. You're experiencing renditions of it, maybe. Painting. In order to really appreciate a painting, you have to see it in a museum. So you know what I mean, those of you who visited museums. What you're seeing is the actual mark of a great painter. There's their work, and you're seeing it in person. And in some paintings have relief. It doesn't transfer on a two-dimensional medium. And you're having a connection with the artist. Vicarious though it is, you're still experiencing their art one-to-one. Same thing with sculpture. To actually see it in 3 dimensions is a whole different thing than seeing it in 2 dimension. Architecture, you have to walk into it. You have to experience fine art in the performing medium, live. So that's how we experience it. Poetry, well, it's a literary art, so I'm afraid not many of us spend long times of the day or night engaged in reading poetry. I mean, some of us do, some of us write it. However, when I was in university, we would go to poetry readings, and a lot of us would say to understand really what the artist's intent is, you have to hear them read their work. So I would say to experience poetry as a fine art, you need to hear it in a reading. Poetry slams are something different. They're too sensational. It's the modern equivalent of a reading, and from what I can tell, what's being conveyed in a poetry slam is not contemplative, it's rather in your face and sensational. Although who knows, it could develop into something else. So that's what they all have in common. How do we experience fine art? We engage in it live, in person. The last question is why? Why experiencing fine art? I think the reason is that it's an antidote to the high-tech culture that we're constantly bombarded with. Every day we wake up and turn on the internet, and that is if the cell phone doesn't wake us up first. So I encourage you to attend a dance concert or a symphony, listen to the symphony orchestra in Hachinoe, or the next time that the London Players come to visit Miaswa, check them out. I guarantee you a clipped, modest rendition of Hamlet over there in the Mokoteki Theater is 10 times better than anything you could see on film or TV. Thank you. Now I turn it over to our high-tech expert, somebody who's...
A plus. Terrific. Wow. Get her working up.
Okay. Now I'm going to turn on all that stuff that's not artistic, like an overhead projector.
Equal time.
Yeah. Hopefully it works. Watch, it won't work now. Okay. So my name's Melissa Bellman, and I'm going to talk to you all about a program that I'm part of. It's called Safe and Secure Online, and it's a program that's sponsored by the International Internet Security Consortium. There's 2 more letters in there, so long, ISC2, and childnet.org. And they go around to schools throughout the United Kingdom, Hong Kong, the United States, and one more Western country, New Zealand, I think. And talk to kids age 11 to 14 about safe use of the internet. And so, of course, I don't have anyone in here age 11 to 14, I don't think, so I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk to you all about is some information that has been gleaned from this particular program by talking to the kids. So what I'll have is 10 tips for you as parents for how you can help your kids surf the internet better. But first of all, but before I talk about this, let me ask, how many of you all have children at home? So if you, okay. So, well, even if you don't have children, or if you're going to have children soon, this is still important for you to know this information, because that's a steal from the late Whitney Houston, but the children are the future. They are going to live in this internet world that we've created, and so it's our duty to protect them and teach them how to navigate this world. They can't, it's too late for them to try to not be part of it. So so I told you everything on this already, so Canada, that was the other Western country. So here's a few statistics to start off with. First, the first statistic, which I got from the IEEE magazine Security and Privacy, study by Carnegie Mellon found that out of 42,000 children under the age of 18 in this database, 4,300 of them had their social security number already stolen by someone and used. And you can see the two of the scarier statistics. One child who was 17 had 8 people already stolen his social security number and racked up $725,000 worth of debt. And then the 14-year-old with a 10-year credit history, you know, so that had been going on since he was 4. And then another study by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This study's about 10 years old, so I'm sure it's gotten worse since then. But I have to refer to my notes on this one because there's some. So first, in their study, they found of youth that used the internet regularly, 1 in 5 had received some sort of sexual advance over the internet. And then 1 in 33 had received aggressive sexual assault. So such things, not assault, sexual advances such as receiving gifts or having a person try to meet them. This was 10 years ago, so I imagine that it's worse now. And then 1 in 17 had been harassed in some way via the internet. And now that's about the victims. Some interesting information about the actual people doing these things. So half of the advances were actually from other kids. And then a quarter of them were from females. So that's sort of unusual from what you would expect. So now that I've given you some statistics to make you think about it more, especially with your children, I'll start with the 10 tips for parents. So the first tip is that you need to talk to your children first. And even if your children are not 11 or internet age yet, you should start talking to them about the risks of internet use. And the main risk that we talk about is illegal download of music. So 50% of the kids that were talked to throughout the Safe and Secure Online program admitted to downloading music, music, movies, or games illegally over the internet. So, and I know it's when I teach the IFSM 201 class, I ask students about that, and many of my students admit also to downloading music illegally. So it's hard probably to convince the parents to tell the kids not to do it when they might be doing it too. But it's actually a very risky behavior to download music illegally. Not just because it's illegal, but it's actually risky for your computer. So when you use these sites like Kazaa or BitTorrent, you're actually opening up what's called a peer-to-peer network with computers of people that you don't even know. And you're basically erasing your firewall and virus protection at that time and allowing them access to your computer. So the risks, one thing is that you'll receive often not the actual file that you wanted, because this is not a big risk, right? You wanted the Lady Gaga song, but instead you get Spice Girls. But the next risk, of course, is more important. That's that you might download spyware, a Trojan, or a virus onto your computer. And then finally, when you do that, like I said, you're opening your computer to other people. So they can get other information off of your computer at the time that you have that going. So I have just for effect, and I did this for the kids. This, so here I am downloading this illegal song here. I'm going to download it because I want the Lady Gaga song
911.
on my computer. So this is just a, I'm not really putting a virus on the college computer. I think, I hope. No, I can escape. But, no, it's going to do it anyway. So, I'll let it run through, but so, and usually it's going to run through and then it'll disappear. And often when you download malware onto your computer, it hides in the background and makes sure your computer will run normally. Meanwhile, somebody's there stealing your bank account information and so on. So they're deleting evidence and restoring the system. And then, now I can close it. So it's okay, I promise that nothing bad is, I didn't do it. Okay, more on the idea of talk first. So now you explain the risks to your kids, but you also want to give them some good tips on how to protect themselves. So the first thing you want to tell kids is to never give away their password. And the kids at the high school, I know they give away their locker combination to each other. So, you know, to them to give away a password is not a big deal. But someone's your BFF today, you give her your password. Tomorrow she might be you know, your new enemy, so she's got your password and information for your account. So always you can teach them how to choose a tough password. And I don't have enough time to talk about how to choose a tough password in this class, but you guys watch the AFN commercials, right? And then remind them about phishing. So banks and websites will never ask for them to verify their login information on the email. And then tell them to be careful who they trust. Once they have an email account, if they get an email with an attachment from someone, they want to think about two things. One is, do they know who the person who sent the email is? And then secondly, would that person send them that attachment? So, you know, my example is that, of course, they probably get an email from grandma, but is grandma going to send them an attachment that says, hey, check out this hot new Lady Gaga video? So probably not. So tell them to think about that. And avoid chain emails. The kids like to send chain emails a lot. They're just participating in spam if they do that. All right. So the next second tip is to limit social networking. And by limiting social networking, you're, of course, all the kids now, at least in the high school, I think are on Facebook. There's not much you can do about it. But if you didn't know, in the United States, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act of 2000 limits what kind of information that websites can collect on children under 13. And for that reason, tools such as Facebook does not allow children under 13 to join. However, I know children who are 8 to 10 years old who have a Facebook account, right? So how do they have that? They lied, right? And usually, how do they come up with an idea to lie? Often their parents sit there and tell them, just say you're 15, you know. So, but there's a reason for not allowing this information to be collected on children. So, you know, they're too young to know how to behave in this situation, what kind of friends to accept and things like that. So I really urge you to not let children under 13, and really I would say wait until about 15 or so to allow kids to participate in social networking. Another, it's interesting that, I got ahead of myself. So there's this network, and I have a slides for a copy of the references for you guys at the end. So this reference right here, digizen.org, it's created by an 18-year-old kid, and so it's written with some information on how to properly participate in social networking in a way that kids would appreciate, not feel like they're being told this by adults who don't know how it is. So. Okay, now I have a really quick video. I shouldn't go over my 20 minutes.
No, take it.
So,
It's cool.
this is, it's called Once You Post It, You Lose It. And so I know we talked about losing it earlier. So, see if I can make it big. So you see the girl put that picture of her up on the bulletin board. This is, here, I'll stop a little bit early. But that's it. I can't get the next thing.
David, can you fix that? She's technologically
All right, there we go.
stuck. Can you help her?
There, that doesn't count, that's not drama. No, but that was showing, because a lot of times kids don't realize, and they'll post a picture of themselves and not realize that not only, even if you limit who can see your pictures, if someone that can see your picture is your friend now, they download the picture and they have it, and then later, you know, they can share it with other people, you can never delete it. You can't, you know, pull it back off the internet. So kids need to know that. And here, the third tip is to reward sensible behavior. So when your kids, this is sort of more about keeping an open discussion. And so talk to your kids about things like cyberbullying and make sure that they know to report it. I know here in Miaswa at the schools, they take cyberbullying very seriously. So if a kid reports cyberbullying to the school, then you know, they can verify it. Then the children who are responsible will be suspended. So encourage the kids to ask for guidance and discuss things with you. So you see here in that study I talked about earlier, only 25% of the kids who were approached sexually on the internet told their parents. And then a fraction of those parents even bothered to tell authorities. So, when they interviewed the parents, they said only 17% had an idea of who to talk to. So I have some references in the up here for you, but also I talked to the NCIS here in Miaswa, and they said that if you feel that there's been some sort of criminal behavior on the internet, you can call the 35th Security Forces Squadron, their help desk, and they will take care of it right away. So they'll take it seriously. And then another website here for kids is the ChildNet Sorted website, and it has tips for kids on just how to protect their computer in general. All right, so here's one of the tips that I think is most important. Computers do not belong in children's bedrooms. They need to be in an open area, a family area where the parents can see what they're looking at, and also you don't need to sit over their shoulder, but if they come across something that makes them uncomfortable, if they're in their room by themselves, they might just deal with it. If you're right there, watching Jon Stewart on TV, they might say, "Hey Mom, look at this." So, and of course, the statistics from the study, so they said 85% of kids have computers in their room, and 75% admitted to being online after 11 on a school night. So they should be sleeping that time anyway. Just be a mean mom like me. So the next tip is that you can't rely on parental controls. Does anyone have like a net nanny or parental control on their computer at home? So, well, they work for little kids to keep them from seeing things that they accidentally, but the older kids can figure out how to get around them. And I know this at the high school, they're always putting up new programs for net nanny type programs, and the kids are getting around them. The teachers are like, "I can't get to my YouTube anymore." The kids are like, "Well, just do this." So it's better to educate them on good behavior than try to block it. And so the third reason why you can't rely on parental controls also is that you have to remember that now the internet is ubiquitous. They have internet access on everything from their cell phone to their game devices to their music players now. So you can't really just block stuff at your computer at home. They need to know how to treat the devices all the time. And then it's true that the online gaming devices have become a major target for cyber predators, especially targeting young boys. So you need to keep an eye on that for your kids. All right, and I threw in a cartoon on this one, but also parents should understand that friend collecting for kids is competitive. So they collect friends, people they don't even know, just to rack up the number of friends. But this means that they're vulnerable to taking friends of someone they don't know. It could be someone that put a kid's picture there and actually be, someone completely different. So make sure that you tell them to only friend people that they really know, and that there's no glamour in having 1,000 friends that they don't know. So there's can you guys see my Dilbert cartoon? Anyway, he's saying he'll pay her to be his friend, and then he calls it a frienditude. Oh, that helps. So, okay. All right, the 8th tip, so we're almost through. So the 8th tip is that their friends are a common risk. So the thing with this is that kids will do things with their friends that they might not do alone. And of course, it's the same stuff, just like smoking, drinking, stuff like that you warn kids about. But they'll engage in bad internet behavior with friends that they might not have done alone. So, and of course, just like all people, they're braver over the internet. So they'll put up insults, and they'll often engage in cyberbullying with someone who wouldn't have been a playground bully. Will join in on a cyberbullying episode against one kid just because everybody's doing it. So, and then I don't know if you guys have heard about sexting, but that's where kids will send each other racy texts that they would never say to the person face to face, And then that sort of leads up to situations that they just don't want to be involved in. Also, they found out that students are doing more sophisticated attacks on their teachers, actually creating fake Facebook profiles on the teachers to try to discredit the teachers. So one thing that you can definitely teach your children is that it's okay to unfriend people. And if they're like us, I have a few family members that post stuff on Facebook that I don't agree with, so you can also hide people without hurting their feelings. And if someone's become a real problem, there's a way that you can actually block a person from ever seeing anything that you post. They won't even be able to find your name, and you will never see anything that they post. So Facebook has that ability. And if I don't have time to explain it today, but if you ever want to do that, all you have to do is Google or Yahoo or search how to block someone from seeing your Facebook at all. It's pretty easy to do. Okay, and number 9 is that reputations matter. Of course, our Facebook reputation matters, right? I have a Facebook page that makes me look way cooler than I am in person. But and so the kids are the same kind of thing. But what we mean here is that what they do, their internet and social networking behavior right now, is going to have an impact on them in their future. You have a 16-year-old kid now who's posting stuff. He's going to apply to college next year, right? And the colleges are looking at that, especially the more prestigious colleges and scholarship programs. And employers are looking at it. And then, 10 years from now, he goes for a security clearance, and they look back 10 years for the security clearance, and they do look at your social networking behavior. So your kids need to know that. All right, and then lastly, number 10 is that if all else fails, tell your kids that their behavior can have an impact on the parents and your family. So again, I was talking about the pirated videos, music, and games. So those peer-to-peer networks are really a very bad thing to get into. And so they can open your computer to cyber attacks and allow malware to be loaded onto your computer so that your identity, bank account information, and even if you have company information on your computer, can be stolen. And your broadband can be blocked. I know Verizon has in your policy, if you sign it, we all have to sign it or we were not going to get Verizon, that if you are found guilty of downloading illegal music and so on, that they will cut your connection off. So, and of course we all know in the military, it's important for our kids to understand that what they post can be a threat to the actual military mission. So that's it. That's my references, and so that's all I have for you guys. I have copies of references up here if you want. And then, so next we're going to the stars with Dr. Ewing. So.
I'm usually pretty comfortable talking to a group of people. However, I don't know how I can possibly follow those first 2 talks at all. So I'm going to both of those. It's a little bit fitting that my topic comes after those 2 topics, because my topic is a bit of a marriage of those 2 topics. First, in astronomy, we do it because we're awestruck, and we attempt to attain the higher feeling of awness and mystery about the universe as we look out there that David was illustrating as everyday behavior for an artist. He lives in that space. We also try to attain those very elevated feelings about what's out there. But we can't explore or find out anything about what's out there without our telescopes and computers. So we're totally technologically based. So we try to put both the 2 together, and sometimes we lose touch a little bit. We get so wrapped up in the mathematics and the computers that we forget to just say, wow. And sometimes we just say, wow, and we forget to solve the equation. So we do have a foot in both worlds in this respect. I'd like to try to blow your mind 3 or 4 times today. That's my goal, anyway. So the first one would be that tonight you might go out and look up and say, wow, the stars are bright tonight. The stars are beautiful. But then you might say, do I really know anything about the stars tonight? Because the light that you are looking at from that particular star took 4 years to reach your eye. It's as if you had a friend that wrote you a letter and said, today I'm having a very good day. So you go to the post office and you get the letter, and it says, I'm having a very good day today. And you look at the postmark, and it was written 5 days ago. It took 5 days for the letter to reach you. So you've got no idea how your friend is today. whether they're even alive or well, or what they've done at all in the last 5 years. And the same is true of that star that you look at and say, wow, that star is beautiful tonight. Sorry, you've got no idea about what that star is tonight, and you've got absolutely no idea what that star did for the last 4 years. It could even be totally disappeared, and you wouldn't know it until 4 years after it disappeared, because it takes that long for the information to travel to you. So enjoy your delusion. And you might say, well, that's only one faraway star. Oh, more bad news. That's our closest star. The others are farther away. We have stars that our newest information is 100 years old. And that's also in the neighborhood. And we have stars that are 100,000 years old. And we even have stars that our latest information is 1 million years old. This is very good in one way, and it's very bad in also the same way. This is called the look-back time, because as you look out in space, because it takes time for the information to travel across these vast regions of space and reach you, you're looking back in time. You're seeing things as they used to be, because it takes that much time for the information to reach you. For example, our sun is 8 light minutes away. That means it took 8 minutes for the sun to send the light and for it to reach the earth. So the sun could have disappeared 7 minutes ago, and you're still enjoying your suntan, and then all of a sudden it goes out. And you say, oh, the sun just disappeared. Well, it disappeared 8 minutes ago, and that was as soon as the information could reach you. So as we look back in time, and by the way, the farthest back that our technological telescopes and computers can now look is 3 billion years. We can look that far back in time, and we can see the universe the way it was 3 billion years ago. Now, that has a good and a bad side. One, we would really like to know what's way out there today. There could be some cool dudes out there, but if they tried to tell us they were cool, then it's going to take 3 billion years for us to find out that they were cool, and we might not really care anymore, and we won't, for other reasons I'll go into. So this look-back time is very bad because we don't know what's currently going on in the universe. It could get you a little nervous. Anything could be happening out there, and there's no way we could find out about it until much, much later. But the good side of it is we get to see ourselves the way we used to be. Because we can assume that that part of the universe is very much like our part of the universe. So if that's the way they looked 3 billion years ago, that's also the way we looked 3 billion years ago. So it's really a history video. As we look back in time, we're just looking back in different eras, to way back to the very beginning. So it's made to order for that. It's disturbing that we don't know what's going on out right now, but in no other science do you get a ready-made history book for you. The farther you look out, the more back in history that you're going. So it's very, very good that way. But there is a limit to this, and we're very near the limit right now. Because that is, you might not know this, but it's true. 15 billion years ago, this many years ago, 15 billion years ago, you might remember it, for reasons I'll also get into in a moment. 15 billion years ago, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. No molecules, very few atoms, no Earth, no sun, no galaxies. There was absolutely nothing. It was the beginning of everything. And then, once the machine got started, then atoms started to form, molecules started to form, planets and suns started to form, galaxies started to form, all very, very slowly over time. But 15 billion years ago, there was nothing. It hadn't started yet. So the universe, as we now know it, did have a definite beginning. And it was 15 billion years ago. So as we look out and improve our telescopes, what are we going to be looking at when we get such a good telescope that we can look back 15 billion years, what are we going to see?
Nothing.
Nothing. Because that's the way it was then. So no matter how much better than that our telescopes get, it's sort of wasted, isn't it? So there's a limit to how far back we can, how far out we can look, because when we look out, we're looking back in time. And there's a limit to how far back in time we can look, because that's when it all started, 15 billion years ago. So we sort of have a built-in limitation. It takes a little bit maybe of the fun out of it, but it's still very exciting to see what happened very, very far out there. The next point to address, and this could be a little sensitive, is that you are nothing. Absolutely, the nearest thing to nothing that there absolutely could be. You might say, well, you know, how can I be nothing? I'm solid, I'm standing right here. You are composed of atoms, true? You're composed of atoms, and the atom has material in it. But the material in the atom is in such an unusual arrangement that it basically adds up to nothing. If we look at one particular atom, then the atom has a center point. The center point is extremely, extremely small. But yet the center point contains 100% of the material, the mass. It's all squeezed together in that little point. And then very, very, very far away is a shell. The shell prevents other atoms from getting into that region. It gives some structure to it. But the shell is very, very light. It has almost zero mass. Almost all of the material is contained in that little dot. But other dots or other atoms cannot approach inside the shell. So it's sort of like a room full of balloons. And inside each balloon at the center is a little dot of matter. So the balloons give the illusion of structure, true? Because the